And here's another one from good old Ayn, and she says, regarding evidence, again, because if you're going to prove something, you're going to have to introduce evidence. What is evidence? Evidence is what you use to persuade the jury. You're asking them to believe like you believe. That's what evidence is all about. What does a prosecutor do when he presents evidence, or the defense attorney for that matter? They present evidence. What's the purpose of evidence? To persuade the jury, to sway the jury to your side of the case. That's what evidence is all about, 150% of it. So every time someone introduces evidence, he's doing religion. Evidence is not science. Evidence is religion, opinion, okay? Because what is evidence of God to you is evidence of non-existence of God to someone else, okay? Okay, the task of man's, right, senses is to give him evidence of existence. And here you can see she's going to judge existence on the basis of evidence. What? Senses, touching, seeing. So she's going to use her five senses, primarily those two, see and touch, to detect or to determine, to evaluate, to establish existence, evidence of existence. Okay, we don't do that in science. Science, we define existence objectively, and then if the entity in question meets the criterion of the definition, if it meets spec, right, then it exists by definition, not because I sense it or believe in it or whatever. Okay? Man's senses are his only direct cognitive contact with reality, and therefore his only source of information. Okay? Without sensory evidence, there can be no concept. You can see she's constantly introducing senses, evidence, truth, fact. Take note of all these, okay? It's all subjective, nothing objective about Ayn Rand whatsoever. Arbitrary means a claim put forth in the absence of evidence, again, and of any sort. Perceptual or conceptual. Perceptual, okay? She's in perceptual at all points, cognizance, consciousness, perception, see, touch. It's all what you perceive, what you think when you were drugged, when you had so much cocaine in your body, what you sense. That's what's reality, right? According to Ayn Rand. Its basis is neither direct observation nor any kind of theoretical argument. So she harps on direct observation, even though she mentions in passing theoretical argument, whatever that means to her, right? Man perceives a blob of color by integrating the evidence of his sight and his touch. So again, you can see that she's going to work her way to the word entity, and she's going to be introducing her senses, what you perceive, what you can touch, what you can see, okay? What does Bill think about evidence? Well, there are no observers in science, so we kill all the senses. That's our starting point. Science operates like the mafia. We kill the witness. In science, we make no predictions, run no experiments. That's why there is no such thing as knowledge, because we define knowledge in terms of predicting the results of an experiment. Use no math and verify absolutely nothing. Verification is religion. Math is description, and therefore outside the bounds of physics, and therefore outside the bounds of science. An equation is only a description. So I'm not saying math is religion. No, math is a language. Math, just a language that's used to describe something quantitatively. That's all that math is. That's why it's not a part of science. In science, we don't describe. In science, we explain. Okay? We have to explain a mechanism in physics and explain a behavior in philosophy. We have no use for math in either direction. So in this sense, again, you wonder what Ayn was thinking when she was saying that, she's going to be using math as a method. Previous slide, right? The purpose of physics is to explain a mechanism objectively and rationally by making a movie of it so that we can understand by merely watching the film. You watch a movie of a mechanism, how the window broke, very simple. And you say, okay, this guy says it was a brick that went through the window. And now you know how the window broke. You have an explanation of how the window broke. Very straightforward. And I can make a movie of it, and you can watch the movie and understand the mechanism. And I'm certainly not going to convince you if I say, well, there was this energy and this mass, and it went through with so much force. No, that's not the way you explain a broken window. Again, that's a description, a quantitative description. It doesn't tell you how the window broke, what the theory, what the mechanism is. You can't say force broke the window, not in physics. You got to show me the physical object that went through the window. And that's what many people don't understand, especially all the mathematicians, okay?